Heavy on the wrist, baby.
Welcome to another edition of Heavy on the Wrist podcast. We got a very special guest in the building, y'all. Straight from the BX, man. We got the Sickone, man. Give it up.
What's popping, man? What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Chilling, man. Hanging in there, man. You already know.
So how'd you get that name, the Sickone, man? Tell them where you from and give them a little bit of background about yourself.
I'm originally from the South Bronx, Forest Projects. My background, just came up in the Bronx and shit all my life. Pretty much in the same block for about 20 years. Did a lot of shit. Didn't do a lot of shit. I mean, just regular childhood shit living in the Bronx, man. Just coming up like everybody else, like you would in every other hood. You know what I'm saying? To me, all hoods are the same. It's just your upbringing is different, but all hoods are the same. You know, everybody could tell you the same stories that they went through growing up. You know what I'm saying? Not that much money, food stamps, all that. You know what I mean? The roaches, the mice. You know, the great moms that got your back and fills in that position for your father if you didn't grow up with a father. You know what I mean? I just grew up in the block, grew up in the streets. Had the old school generals raise me. You know, the streets raised me. So, you know, had that kind of lifestyle coming up, all the way up to getting introduced to the music scene, getting introduced to all of that coming up. And I'm starting the Full Eclipse group, which was me, rest in peace, Big Pun. At the time, he was called Moondog. And, you know, Cuban Links and Triple Sace. And at that time, Cuban Links was Lyrical Assassin and Triple Sace was Joker Jams. And I was a Big Tomb from the block. And then my name just generally started changing as I started getting older and started doing a lot of sick shit. And then they just started calling me the Sick One. And then I used the name the Sick One as my rap ID to be as a rapper. And then we all put together the crew called Full Eclipse, which is the crew that actually started the whole movement that you know now as Terror Squad.
Full Eclipse, that's dope. So how did it go from Full Eclipse to Terror Squad?
Full Eclipse is a whole different entity. Terror Squad, the original and what I call the real Terror Squad, because there's a difference with the Terror Squad that you all know today, which is Fat Joe's record label, Terror Squad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the cats that run behind the name of Terror Squad from the record label. That is not the Terror Squad from the block. You know what I'm saying? Or where the hitters came from, where the true generals and the real motherfuckers that put in the work came from. Right. Also, you know, all the original OGs. There's two separations. You know, like even Cuban can tell you today. You know, like Cuban Pun and Sace, they weren't Terror Squad. They were Terror Squad from the record label. You understand? So yeah. There's a difference. Joe took the name of our crew and put a stamp on it to the Terror Squad record label, which is what made the name even more popular in the world. You know what I'm saying? As that, but as in the Terror Squad and what we put into work and where we did our shit and. You know, we bled for that. You know what I'm saying? We lost soldiers and all that through the name of the Terror Squad thing coming up. Where Full Eclipse is completely different. It's a different entity. Full Eclipse started with me. I was Joe's hype man coming up. I was his hype man coming up. For those that don't know the history, you can look that up and know where that's from. So I was Joe's hype man. I was from the block. I came up with him from the block since 13, 14 years old, all the way up until we were, you know, young men, young adults. But I was doing that. You know what I'm saying? You know, ran with the whole crew, knew the crew. I wasn't in DITC, but that's my fam. You know what I'm saying? We all from the block. So digging in the Craze crew, Law Finesse, Diamond D, Showbiz, AG, Big L. All of these cats, you know what I'm saying? These were all, rest in peace, Big L. These were all, you know, the cats that came up from the block together as a family, you know what I mean? And they were the ones that started the whole music, you know, for our block, you know what I mean? Diamond D and Showbiz. So then Joe had joined that clique and that, but with me, I wasn't involved in none of that. in that scene with the music and all that. I was just known to be in the block as a stick-up kid, you know, just, you know, doing what I got to do to survive and buy a sandwich at the bodega, you know what I mean? So, just keeping it 100. And you know, with Full Eclipse, that came about more down the road with the introduction where Chris, with Pun, rest in peace. I knew Pun when he was about my size. He wasn't big, fat, you know, overweight, none of that shit. He was just a hustler from around the corner from my mother's block. He was doing this thing over there at a place called, it was in Davidson Projects, which AKA was called The Ranch, where a lot of other soldiers and hitters came from. That's where Sammy with Triple Six lived at. And then I lived right around the corner at my mom's block and that. And then so I knew Pun first. No, I knew Sace first for many years. Sace was just used to play a lot of softball in the projects at 23 Park in Forest. And then I knew him from the block and everything like that. So that's how the introduction with Sace was. Sace always been there. We always knew Sammy, always knew Sace. Cuban came later on down the road when they built these little projects, and they had knocked down these big buildings that were there. You know, the Bronx was on fire, so they had knocked down all these buildings with a big empty lot. Then they built these things that was called the Little Village. So for short, they call it the Little Vills. And so Cuban moved there. I didn't know him at the time, and then I knew Pun from the block and that. Long story short, I had the introduction through Pun, and met Cuban through that. So then that I already knew Sace. They were doing their thing with rapping and stuff like that, and I was doing my own thing on the side, my own, and they were doing their own thing. I was mostly like what you call the muscle, and I was managing people, you know, doing all that. And then I started doing that with Pun and them too, you know, trying to, you know, do my thing. And then we just all decided, yo, let's start this group. So we did the group, and it was called Full Eclipse. We was into that horrorcore shit, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like really, this was at the time when Wu-Tang bring out their little spots and that, and bring in the horrorcore scenes and all that with their other parts. So we got into that because that's what was popping at that time. So we started doing the whole horrorcore scene and everything. Then slowly but surely on the low in the streets, we started blowing up. We used to go to the strip place. It was called the Playhouse on East Tremont in the Bronx. And they had Grandmaster, who was it? Melly Mel had a little open mic thing going on inside the strip joint. So we went in there. We ended up winning whatever they was doing, and then we ended up getting. So since we won, we got invited to go on the show. Back in the days, Hot 97. It was called the Mic Check Show, where they would bring in artists and stuff like that. So we go up in there, and we just started freestyling off. We didn't even have no songs. We didn't have none of that. We didn't have no 18 bars or nothing. We just knew how to write and how to rap. So that's what we started doing. And the way that we will go next is we'll tap the next person. You know what I'm saying? And then here comes right on top. You know, the old school freestyling just going like that. So we was going off on the radio like that. We was killing it. Next thing you know, we created a big buzz in the street in the Bronx. But everybody didn't know that we were Hispanic. Nobody knew that we were Puerto Rican, Cuban. Me and Pun was Puerto Rican. You know, Sace's Dominican. And then Cuban is Cuban. So, but nobody knew that we was Latino. You know what I'm saying? So that was crazy. Oh, let me rewind. Also, when we was on the Mic Check Show, that's when Joe walked in and was trying to claim the team. You know what I mean? But I knew Joe. I came up with Joe. We came up together from the real original Terror Squad and all of that. So it was funny. But you know, as you know, through the history throughout these years, I really don't play into the I really don't do a lot of the interview. I keep it 100. I keep it a buck. I did today's interview because of Ray. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude. So you know, I did it out of love to him and shit like that, and now out of love to y'all since I'm meeting you guys now. You know what I mean? Much respect to y'all. I never really liked doing interviews. I just did Panda Chop and that real good fucking dude, funny as hell. So I did the Panda Chop thing, and I did this out of the favor for Ray. But I really don't do it because I don't like to get into the drama shit with all the bullshit that's been going on for all these 20-something years that the shit's been going on for already. I'm very different. I'm not into that talk shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Ray can pretty much vouch for that. I don't get involved for all that talk shit. I'm probably one of the realest niggas you can meet, and I will show up at your house. And I get myself into problems doing that. So to avoid that bullshit, I stay away from all of that. You know what I mean? But I always feel like a guardian, and I always feel like I gotta step up and protect my brother Cuban when shit comes out. You know what I mean? That's not true. You know what I mean? Real talk. But besides that, that's pretty much my history. That's pretty much my upbringing, my coming up. Just a lot of shit, a lot of crazy shit, a lot of crazy stories. A lot of crazy stories. It wasn't just the music thing. It was always, the thing coming up in the block and the shit we did in the block and just the hood shit, you know what I mean? And everything we did, going with Joe to all these different shows when he was doing Flow Joe when he first started, and being his hype man, doing all that, and just the street, man, the street of us growing up as brothers and the shit we went through.
So one question I want to ask you: was you there at the club when Terror Squad got it popping with Rockefeller?
Nah.
No, you wasn't there for that.
Nah.
But being that you came up with Terror Squad and everything, like, what's your relationship with a lot of those guys you came up with, like Triple Sec and Cuban and them type of stuff?
Cuban was just at my house, maybe last weekend. Cuban is my brother for life, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother for life. We've always kept a relationship, always kept a brotherhood. Little nephew, you know what I'm saying? Chris, Pun's son, Liza, or, everybody, is still there when available. You could pick up the phone and talk and stuff like that. It's not that serious. But with Sason, that same thing too. Never had, still in the brotherhood. All the original Terror Squad members, we keep in contact with each other. We all real like that, real brothers. So, we always keep tabs on each other and always sticking to each other and everything like that. To be 1,000, I'm not with Joe. You know what I'm saying? Joe is different. It's very different with Joe. Where he went with his moves and stuff like that. He made a lot of his own moves. We don't fly with it. And some shit, just what you do. You know what I'm saying? When you move on and you're doing your own thing in your own business, you can't knock that. You can't knock that. Only thing we knock as a crew from the block is the history and the stories that are true and not true, and the lies. You feel what I'm saying? We don't stand on that bullshit, because we lost too many brothers and a lot of shit. We done a lot of dirt. You know what I'm saying? For motherfuckers, for somebody to try to put their foot on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And if you notice, I said a lot of shit throughout all these months, right? A lot. And my name has not been mentioned once negative. You know why? Because they know Sick ain't gonna fuck. Sick don't play that bullshit. Mm-hmm. So you gotta notice that when I say these things, and I've been saying all of this stuff, that's how you can tell the truth to motherfuckers that was capping and lying. Because and then they would either say it directly or subliminally, like, oh, then you got this other guy talking all this mess. He don't know what he's talking about. Ain't nobody come out and said nothing. And I said a lot. I said a lot of truth. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no hair in my tongue, and I speak out. I speak out for truth. Otherwise, you don't ever hear from me, man. I'm just, I got my own show, my own channel, my own podcast show with my collectibles, and I'm chilling. I got my own businesses. I got all that. I'm chilling. Sick is not driving Uber. You feel me? So, it is what it is.
Facts.
So, how do you feel about hip hop from the way it is when you started doing rap back in them days when you was with Full of Clips to where hip hop is now?
Well, my story was like Full of Clips. We did a lot of stuff, right? We did a lot of shit. We did a lot of foul shit, and we did a lot of stuff that was like fun. That was like, you can't even imagine today getting away with the shit. You know what I mean? Back in the days, it was just different.
I want to hear a story.
Man, we did a lot of shit, man. I can tell you a story how, allegedly, we had like counterfeit money, and we went shopping and shit and started buying fucking studio equipment. And back in them days, studio equipment was like the real big park speakers and all that shit. And then me and my brother, we were the only ones that got caught. You know what I'm saying? We jumped in this cab and shit, and the people from the store ran out and they was pointing, you know, the cops surrounded the car. We were stashing all the money inside of the seat. So they only found like $200 bills, you know what I mean? And the rest they never looked inside the cab. Otherwise we would have been hung. But you know, shit like that. We did stuff like that to buy tents so we could dress up to look like each other, look good in the hood, and go to the clubs and all that stuff. Then it got to the point where a lot of the places we couldn't go to because if I go to the party, they didn't let us in type shit. You know what I mean? Because they thought that we was gonna start some crazy shit. Just a lot of stories of Fat Joe stories. Out, you know, just a lot of shit, man, that we did coming up. That shit wouldn't fly today. Now, to me, the difference with hip hop from today and then is 1,000,000% social media. 1,000,000% social media. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have all of these music streaming things. You didn't have none of that.
Didn't have a device.
That's why most of these rich millionaires today are an average of 17 years old to 25 years old. Because these cats know how to. They figured it out. They figured it out when the internet came. They figured out algorithm. They figured out all of this stuff, how to use all of that towards their music. Because if you look at this, a lot of the major hip hop artists today, all these young cats that are major, huge, they all did it by dropping videos on YouTube. That's how they did it. They were dropping videos on YouTube. They were getting all these likes. This is even before Twitter, before all of that stuff. YouTube became a big capitalism thing for making money. And then that's when they start understanding that the more views, the more clicks, YouTube's paying you for these ads and that. So now you got these kids that's doing like fucking 10 million views in 3 days. And they seen that big check. So they don't need these record labels no more. You know what I mean? So they do their own thing. Most of these kids are making their money through shows. Come on, they're getting like 150 racks a show.
Yeah.
And they're doing like 3 or 4 shows a week.
Yeah.
3 or 4 shows a week. And they really are getting 100 to 150 racks per show to do like 2 songs. 2 songs. I just found out the reggaeton artists, the top ones, the top reggaeton artists. Yo, dude, you know how much they're getting per song just to perform it? 1 song? $50,000.
Yeah.
So they do 2 songs. They get in 100 racks. 3 songs, they get in 100 racks. Real talk. And the same thing is going on with these young kids. We weren't seeing nothing like that back in the days.
Oh, we didn't have them kind of numbers back in the day.
We was doing shows to get in the club for free.
Damn.
If we thought we get in the club for free, we thought we were the shit.
Right.
We going in there 20, 30 deep. The whole crew is coming in for free. Man, we good. We good. We don't need none of that. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's chipping in to buy a little bottle. You know, the bottles back then weren't fucking $200-$300. It was $50. Yeah. You know what I mean? That wasn't expensive. So we was in there flossing, dude. We used to make $50 in an hour just selling krills in front of the building. So come on, man. You know, it was a big difference, man. Huge difference from then to today. Big difference.
So was you ever signed to an independent deal, or was you ever signed to a label? Or
my advice,
independent.
My advice, it doesn't, to me, it's you gotta understand, major labels, they still help out more than what you could do on your own. It's the truth. They could. They got more platforms. It's how you work the deal for yourself. It's how you work the deal, because now in deals, you got more power. You understand what I'm saying? Because they know, the labels really know that you really don't need them to that caliber anymore. But the labels could put your shit out there more than what you could, because they got access to doors that you don't have as little YouTube marketers and stuff like that. They have different doors, different genres, different places where they can place you. And as long as you understand your contracts, as long as you understand that you got the power to own all your royalties, you got the power to, you know, to work stuff like that, then, you know, I think it's a good option to do it, or to do it independent. But remember, all these labels, even if you're dependent, you still got to get a distribution deal. You got to get somebody to distribute your music. You can't just do everything on streaming. You know what I mean? Because you can copy music off a stream and do whatever you want with that. You know what I mean? It's like Napster. You could grab that and do whatever you want with that. But if you got backing like major companies or independent that they'll fight for that copyright for you, you know what I mean? Then there's a difference. You as your own solo person and own entity, if you're not aware of that, how you gonna be collecting money when your little 10-second or 5-second little thing of your song is played on a commercial on a radio, or is played as an intro on the radio? You're supposed to get a check for all of that. But if you don't follow that, how you gonna get it? That's where the labels come in. The labels have all that algorithm, and they know where your shit is being played around the world, and they know how to track it, how to find it, and how to get that check. So there's a big difference, real big difference. Once you got these young kids that they're making $150,000 a show, and they doing 3 shows, and they making like about $300,000-$400,000 a week, and they making that little $1.5-2 million a month, they don't care about everything else. They're like, well, they playing it? I don't give a fuck. They don't care about that because they making that money. You know what I mean? And they gotta, people gotta smarten up, because what's your worst? Your worst enemy is yourself. Your worst enemy is yourself, because you always tell on yourself. Yeah, I made 150 racks, and then you showing it, right? You piling it up, but the feds are going like this. How much of that shit you paid us? You know what I'm saying? How much of that shit you paid? You ain't paid. Wait a minute. You just, this weekend you did 3 shows, $150,000 a show. Shit, that's like fucking $400,000-$500,000. We haven't seen nothing from you in months. And that's another thing where they come in. And that's where the labels protect you and all of that. That's where all these things come in, and they protect you from all of that. But if you're doing it on yourself, man, you're not paying these bills. You gotta pay your bills, man, because they coming. They coming, bro. The all day long, the feds is on the internet. Feds is on the internet all day. Dude, they got teams that's all they do. That's all they do is on the internet. And they find you, they catch you, they follow you. And that's how they get those RICOs and all that stuff on everybody. You know what I mean? That's how they do it. You're telling yourself.
That's crazy. So what advice would you give these artists coming up? What would you tell an artist coming up right now?
Protect your foundation. Protect it. You have to protect it to the fullest. You don't need to keep every dime you make, as long as it's going to the right place where it's protecting you in the future, where you ain't got nothing to worry about. Invest your money. Invest your money. Don't invest it on the jury, because now it's already out, man. 60% of the jury that the artists are wearing, they're not real. The shit ain't real. It just don't turn your neck green. You feel me? But the shit ain't real. It's not 60% of it. But you can't invest in that, because you're losing your money when you're coming back for that. You know what I mean? You buy a chain for $100,000, you take it back to somewhere. They're either going to trade it for something that's $60,000 cheaper, or they're going to give you back $40,000 less than what you paid for it. Invest your money, man. Real estate is the way to go. Apps, all these apps, you got to invest in these apps. Create an app and do all of that. Invest your money in that, because that's where all the money is at. In the future, you got to understand, whether people don't like it or not, AI is the future. AI is the future. That shit is just is real. That AI shit is actually real. And you just got to invest in your future. Stay away from the drama, man. Stay away from the drama. Just know, pick your right team with you. It's not about still being street or still being from the block, from the hood. Now, dude, if you're a star, all that shit, you got to change your life. If you want to stay a star, you got to stay away from all the fucking drama and the novelas and all of that. And you got to surround yourself with the right team that they not hood. You understand? They not hood. You want to be protected? Dude, you got money. Hire your security team. Keep it a buck. Protect your investment. Your investment is yourself. Your investment is what you put in that pen. Your investment is the fucking 17 hours you spend a day in the studio. You know what I mean? That's your investment, is you. So protect your investment. Protect yourself. Don't think you're pussy, or don't think you or you saw. It has nothing to do with that, man. You just built a whole brand new foundation for yourself. If I was to be still stuck in the hood shit and all of that, I wouldn't be able to negotiate contracts for none of my businesses. I wouldn't be able to own food trucks. I wouldn't be able to do none of that. Because remember, owning these businesses, you have to talk to people. You have to talk to people. Am I going to talk to somebody like, yo, motherfucker, give me this money, man, so I can do this? That's not the way I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to be like, all right, no problem. What could we do to make this happen? What could we do to change things to make it better? You know what I mean? It ain't the sick one. It's Milton. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I'm keeping it a buck. If you're an artist and you're making money and you know your future looks bright, change your steps moving forward. Because you're only doing it to make it better for yourself. Trust me when I tell you. And then at the end of that rainbow, at the end of that hallway, it's going to be something there waiting for you that's going to be greater than you had when you left behind you. Trust me, man, when I tell you that. I've been there, done it, and I followed those traits. It always worked for me. And every time I stood stuck on some shit that they told me, yo, you got to stop doing that, I always was stuck. Exactly what it does to you. It sticks you. You get stuck. Get away from that shit, man. So you need to get away from it. You don't even got to be a hip hop artist, because right now hip hop has so much elements to it, right? Because hip hop was you know, you got producers, you got break dancers, you got graffiti artists, you got all of this, right? And now you got fashion, you got not most def fashion. I'm talking about a different fashion. But,
we ain't on that.
You got fashion, right? You got all these entrepreneurs. You got these people doing these videos on TikTok. You got all of this stuff. There's so much businesses out there. And you got all these content creators. Like for example, you got, like, let's say Kai Cenat, right? You know who I'm talking about, right? Kai?
Yeah.
Kai is one of the biggest social media people on the planet, right? And he was making money on YouTube, right? That's where he started, on YouTube, from the Bronx. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He started making money. He was making good money. And then he found a new hustle. He found the streaming platform. And then on the streaming platform, it exploded for him. Started growing. But guess who knew he was growing? All the artists.
Yeah.
All the artists. Everywhere. Because now the artist is like, yo, fuck going up to the late night show.
Right.
You gotta go to Kai Cenat and go sit down with him and just have fun. And then watch me blow up. And that's exactly what happened. All of these people, they're all working with each other. They're all working with each other, right? Come on, man. If you got somebody, Nicki Minaj just shows up to your crib and shit like that. Come on, man. That means that you're powerful now, man. You're not just a regular person anymore.
You popping, yeah. You
powerful. You know what I'm saying? People are on Instagram. They charging $100,000 just for them to say your name once on Instagram. And they're getting it. They getting it. That's how they getting rich. So it's different. There's so much things out there for people to make money, but you know, don't do shit that's gonna hurt you. Because if you do something that's gonna hurt you, you're not gonna move. You gotta understand, at some point of your career, you're gonna have to work with somebody that you didn't want to work with. But if you say that on your way there, when you get there, that person that you didn't want to work with because you were saying it going all the way over there, he ain't gonna fuck with you. And that could be the biggest guy on the planet. Now he ain't gonna mess with you.
Right.
Keep your mess to yourself and keep it moving, and know what you need to do to get bigger, bigger, and bigger until you get there. Don't go backwards. You got to get there. You got to get there, because this is what you're doing, right? Y'all doing this podcast, right? Because this is what y'all want to do. This is what y'all want to do. You know what I mean? So you like, yo, there's things we got to do. 7:00. Turn your phones off. Don't call me. I ain't doing nothing. I can't go here. I can't go there. I know she got a fat ass, but I can't go fuck that right now. I got something I'm doing right now that's more important for myself right now in the future. If everybody has that same mentality, if you lose at the end, it's because you failed. You did something to make it fail. But if you change your mindset, things change for you, man. It really does.
Speak about the businesses you're involved with now, and where people can go find you on the platform if they want to reach out to you and stuff like that.
Well, right now I got some food trucks. The Munchie Sabo Boricua food trucks, they popping. I'm doing very well. here in Florida, Central Florida.
Okay.
Also, I got my own channel. It's called Sick Mansion Collectibles, Sick Mansion One Word Collectibles, where I review and do all kind of stuff for these high-end statues. Like Thanos, that's a $5,000 statue right there. You know what I mean? Shit that you can't really get nowhere. That's real silicone, real glass eyes, real hair, real shit. You know what I'm saying? I get all this stuff from around the world, man. And if y'all want to get stuff like this, not even high end like this, like other stuff, different things, statues affordable, go to my channel and check it out. I'll hook you up where you can be able to get these things and bring them into your collectibles and just collect, man, everything. And we got a live podcast show that goes on every Saturday night. It's called the Saturday Night Raw Show, where I bring in hip hop artists and a lot of different things. And we talk statues, we talk collectibles, we talk whatever you collect. And we do stuff like that. So you can check me out on there. You know what I mean? And also check out Panda Chop. If you want to hear the 2 hours and 30 minutes, if you want to know more about my history, more stories, everything else, go there and check out Panda Chop News. And you're going to get the whole story, the whole history of Terror Squad, the whole thing, which is pretty cool.
Check it out. We're going to bring you back on here. We can talk some more about Terror
Anytime.
Squad.
Anytime. Just hit me up and we'll make it happen. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, Show, you got anything?
Nah, you said what I was about to say. I was going to ask about his new ventures and his podcast and all that. But yeah, good shit. I'm going to check that out. Might have to pull up on that one.
Appreciate Any shout out you got, Sickone, you want to give, bro?
Just shout out to y'all, man, and much success to y'all in the future. And just keep grinding, keep making it happen, man. And it will explode. Anything y'all need from y'all boy here, we local. Y'all already know what it is. We on the pull up. You know what I'm saying? We on the pull up.
Yeah, we pull it out like that, man.
Salute to you, my guy, and anytime, man.
Hey, I appreciate you showing up to the podcast, man. This has been another episode of Heavy on the Wrist podcast, and we out, man.
Salute.